Let's get salty!
Hey everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video and Battlefield Necromancer, Unholy Frenzy, Obliterate, Blightfang, Meat Grinder, Yimyar Deathbringer, probably butchered that one, Malignant Horror, oh the Arena Nightmares, Corpse Bride, Rhyme Sculptor, Bone Guard Commander, and Stitch Giant are all cards of Death Knight that have been buffed, and it's finally happened. Death Knight is good and really good. We're gonna take a look at it. Is there a Death Knight problem maybe? I don't know. Well, we're probably not gonna do that. But anyways, we're gonna take a look at it, see how the meta has developed since the last balance patch, because things are changing quite a bit, and I thought it'd be fun to go over it. If you enjoy the content on the channel, you feel like I've earned your subscription, please hit the sub button down below, give the video a like. We are closing in on 63,000 subscribers, so thank you guys all so much for your support. So if we take a look at HS Replay like we love to do on this channel, you take a look at standard and you've got a lot of green going on across all ranks. Shaman, Paladin, Hunter, Warlock, Mage, Death Knight, all very playable classes. Ironically, Rogue is like 46%, but it's still probably the most popular class at Legend Ladder and still performing really well despite being nerfed like 6 times this expansion already. That is how ridiculous that class was and still is to an extent. But yes, regardless, Death Knight at a pretty playable spot, but I thought it was quite fascinating to take a look. If you take a look across all ranks at Wild, Death Knight is now the top ranked class across all ranks to the power of even Death Knight. We'll take a look at it in a little bit, but the deck doing really well. Basically nothing else so much in Wild, but still doing really strong. In Classic, it's really sad to see Death Knight pretty much non-existent. Like, they don't even track it. So it's kind of doing bad there. Maybe they should buff it there. I don't know what's going on in Classic. Also, sarcasm is something I like to do. But you take a look at the Arena, we all know Death Knight's been pretty nuts there, but it is still the top class in Arena, but it's way more manageable, reasonable. I haven't even hit like 12 wins with it in like, I don't know how many drafts, and maybe that's because I'm bad, but overall Death Knight feels a lot more fair with the Malignant Horror ban and all of that. Still really good, but I've had good runs with Hunter, I've had good runs with Mage, hell, even Priest, but don't tell anyone that. I don't play Priest. And even Duels, where Death Knight has been nerfed quite a bit, treasures, passives, but basically Death Knight's guaranteed good buckets, which like no other class is, because the bucket system, I don't know what that is. I just, it makes me sad. Maybe I'll make a video just talking about how bummed I am about Duels and how I never play it anymore. Let me know in the comments below if that's something you'd like to hear about. But yes, Death Knight doing really well. And this is all after the lackluster start of Death Knight, where it was kind of sad. World Championships happened and no one brought Death Knight in. Well, let's take a look at the top meta, top legend, if it's just an across all ranks thing, because sometimes it's just that. So if you look at top 1000 legend in standard since the latest patch, you will note that 2 separate Death Knight decks are right near the top. Frost Death Knight, which recently got nerfed with Glacial Advance, losing a mana discount. I've been playing the deck myself. It's like one of the only decks I can kind of stand, and not really. Another video topic, by the way, is this tweet, basically, not having fun playing ladder these days. I'm mostly playing Arena. There's a lot of variety on ladder, but man, for me, someone who likes a bit more value, a bit more control, it's just not there for me. But regardless, in terms of variety, in terms of meta variety, there's a lot of stuff, but you do see Death Knight, Frost Death Knight. We've seen it be good before. It's still good, but the big emerging threat, and it's a legitimate threat, Unholy Death Knight, which got buff after buff, as you saw in the intro, it is at across at least top 1000 legend, 53%. And it's funny to look at the deck. I actually have it loaded in Hearthstone. At least one of the popular versions of the deck barely runs any buffed cards. Like, there's no Stitch Giant, there's no Unholy Frenzy. You do have Battlefield Necromancer, which that 1/3 taunt is, it's just bonkers. It's so hard to get through this minion once it gets going. It's such a like, just think about it. If you play your Body Bagger on 1 and you play Necromancer on 2, that is a 2 mana 3/6 with half of it's got taunt, and it can just keep snowballing from there. So yeah, no wonder it's good. The early game is just gotten to the point of a pretty ridiculous nature. Blightfang is another card that got buffed. I would argue though, as a 3/3, would probably still be just as good. The effect is really strong in a more board-based meta near like a mirror. It can be really solid. And also just to stand out, even though it's not a Deathlight card, Hawkstride Rancher, its interaction with Swarm Guard, where every card gets a buff. Yeah, this deck's doing really well. We're seeing Sylvanas seeing play, Damage Full. It kind of reminds me of the Wild deck, which we'll take a look at in a bit. But yes, this deck is doing well. Saw No Hands Gamer playing it with it. This is named after Otsuna. He did very well, I think top 30 legend with it. So Unholy Deathlight is finally a playable deck. It fights for board. It requires board. It's actually a Hearthstone deck, like, you know, I'll probably play this. Maybe I'll try it in the Heroic Brawl later today. By the way, I will be doing Heroic Brawl, so you guys don't have to. I'll also upload the new portrait if you want to take a look at it in tomorrow's video, so you have an idea what that looks like. So yeah, it's really cool to see that. I play Frosty King. It's literally the same deck. It's really good. Glacial Advance still busted, but definitely way worse than before. When I copy a bunch of them, it's like, oh, I can't play them all in one turn, right? But still, Frostworm's Fury hard carries it. That card is ridiculous. Just frees the board over and over. Pretty degenerate. Maybe that's why I'm not having fun. I'm playing a deck like this. Maybe I should play more Unholy. And then Wild. Wild's the other thing where at high ranks, I'm not sure how good even Deathlight is. I really don't. But when you're going against like the major population, you're going against like Secret Mage and Pirate Rogue and all that, it counters it really handily. And it also, by the way, this was doing well before buffs anyways, but Necromancer just put it over the top. Basically, this is the buff that mattered like at all for like Unholy. That's what put it over the top. Also, you know, the other classes being dialed down. But yes, even Deathlight, again, very similar style. You're kind of utilizing infused mechanics. You have Sylvanas, you have Marogar, which is a ridiculous card. And yeah, it does beat those counters. But the thing with Wild, discard Warlock is really emerging again. At all ranks right now, 51% win rate for Warlock. It's been going up and up, especially the last few days. If you took a look at my deck recommendation video, I recommended discard Warlock because it's starting to dominate again. And if you take a look at the decks, there's not a ton of sample size on it. This is like Legend rank. I don't know if we have Diamond through Legend, if it's any better. These are mostly all discard builds, and they're all starting to creep up to like 55. We have one at 61%. And it's going to get to a point where I think it's going to get further optimized, where we might have a discard Warlock problem because the deck is just genuinely a horrible experience to face, where Cataclysm, not only does it just clear the board always on turn 4, but it outright kills you with Soul Barrages, with Walking Deads, with Silverware Golems. The deck is not quite as potent without Tome Tampering, that ban, but it does feel like the core issue of the deck might be remaining. So that's another development to look out for in Wild. But if you take a look at Deathlight performance in Wild, if we just take a look at decks in general, because this is more Deathlight focused video, you can see 61% at Diamond through Legend. Like all these decks, they're all the same build and they're all performing arguably well. I just think the play pattern is a little bit more positive for the game because it's board based, as well as it's very counterable. The deck doesn't do well against like Quest Mage, Big Priest, a lot of these decks that have like AoEs and then mass mana sheet to go with it. It's very beatable, but overall it's nice to see that Death Knight, for me at least, this is a good thing, is thriving in every format. And outside of Frosty K, which I will say, I guess this goes for standard and duels, besides Frosty K, it's nice to see a class that seems to be a bit more traditional. It's more of a style that at least I enjoy in Hearthstone, and I'm glad to see it doing well. And it's not so much about scams and mana cheat, it's about fighting for board. There is the elephant in the room though, you know, we don't have Blood Death Knight. Blood Death Knight's not represented basically in any mode outside of duels. It kind of works in duels. And again, taking a look at top 1000 Legend, if you want to find Blood Death Knight, you gotta go all the way down here. It's playable, tier 3, but it's a very polarized deck. Its bad matchups are awful, its good matchups are pretty good, and you can kind of see that across here. So you look at Warlock, it just gets dunked on there, but then it obliterates matchups like Blessed Priest, where it just loses to removal. It can beat up, ironically, on the other Death Knight decks. It's a very polarizing deck. It's not at the point where it's really consistently winning, but at least it's prevalent, unlike Control Warrior, which is like, yikes. completely unplayable and control is still struggling. So this was more of a kind of a rambling video talking about Deathlight. If you can't tell, I'm still a little bit obsessed with it, nearing 1,400 wins already, but it's just cool to see how things have developed, and I haven't seen a lot of hate for it. Unlike Demon Hunter, when it launched, was good in every mode, dominant in every mode, and I swear people just wanted it deleted from the game. I rarely hear the same complaints about Death Knight. So let me know in the comments below how you feel about the class, how you feel about the meta, and yeah, we'll hit you up tomorrow with an update video. There's like 3 new portraits in the game. I'll highlight them all, including the really expensive Heroic Brawl one. Maybe we'll talk about the Heroic Brawl, any news, developments, updates out there. And yeah, let me know what you guys want to hear. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.